What up, guys and girls? Another brand new video coming at you today. We are back for another round of the Race Spec F1 Esports Elite Series for Season 3 here in Tier 2 on the PS4. We're here for round 11 here at the Belgian Grand Prix. Now, first things first, if you have not seen the previous video, which was the Hungarian Grand Prix, then do go check that one out because, I mean, it was certainly an entertaining race. Unfortunately, spoilers alert right now, didn't end well for me, unfortunately. So, first things first, I must apologise. Firstly, because I think I accidentally put the wrong tables in the results tables in after the last round. I think I didn't actually take the screenshots from the. I don't even know whether the tables were actually done after Hungary, but I accidentally put in, I think, the one from Great Britain. So yeah, apologise about that. But thankfully the tables were updated after Belgium, so you'll see the results from that and the proper standings of what they look like after this round anyway. So you can see here, we're underway here in our first run here. I actually had validated coming through Puan, but I completed a lap just to get a little bit of a delta time up my sleeve just in case. It is a 43, where are we here? Did I actually? I'm looking at the wrong notes here. It's actually 43.513.
Nice.
It was my lap time. Not a great deal. It was. Let's be honest, it's not really quick around here. But again, coming around the no-name corner there, I actually validate. I'll correct myself. Geez, I'm having a shocker. I might have actually validated at the first part of the no-name corner, and I just did the exact same there at the exit curve.
That is so weird. My car just went transparent.
That's weird.
No kidding. I'll show you. I'm streaming, so I'll show you after the race if I remember.
Yeah, so Plebs is having
I lost the rear just before
weird little moment.
And started ghosting. It might be a new feature.
Maybe, who knows for this game.
So as we come obviously back into the pit lane after invalidating on the into the corner at no name and then the exit the corner at no name on the first two runs. This is what Plebs was talking about. You can see he just loses the back end and his car just randomly ghosts. And then obviously just comes out from the random ghosting thing. So I actually had a look at his point of view after the race, and that was what we saw there. So that was very weird. And considering he was hosting and streaming at the same time as well, I don't know whether that is a factor or not. I'm not 100% sure. So there's Alex there just giving some warning about the wet weather, potentially. If there's anything, it's going to be later on in qualifying, I think. So it may not affect us too much, otherwise it might come very late into the session there. So and I think there might be a bit of weather for the race as well. So out we go for our second run here for around Belgium. As you can see here, we're just trying to find a bit of, well, let's say trying to find a bit of space. We're just letting the cars already that are on flyers go there. You can just see, obviously, Electric Chain Game Wow go through there, considering he was already on a flyer. But obviously, we now start our flyer here. You get a nice little slipstream here from Big Chich, which was very handy, coming up down the Camel straight into Lake Com. I don't know whether it actually improved my times or not, but it was actually pretty helpful through there. But coming through the no-name corner, lose the back end this time. Just absolutely just wet on me there. I don't know what the goes from there, whether I just ran too wide and took too much curb or what, or the white line or something, I don't know. But that was a very random spin for that to happen. And, well, in the end, obviously, I had to abort the second run here. As you can tell, obviously, Belgium being one of the longest circuits, I think it's a little bit over 7 kilometres in length. You do have to be a little bit picky at times, like, because the time is probably be against you, considering it's nearly a 140 odd lap. And then obviously you got a cool down lap to get back down into the pit lane. So you don't really have too much time. So especially if you went the softer compound of the tyres.
keep you updated as the conditions change.
As you can hear, there's the weather forecast update with Jeff,
Are you out yet,
saying
Joe?
that there's still rain on the horizon here qualifying, but we should be able to just get away with it, I think. But yeah, but as I was saying, if you're on the softer confident tyres, I don't think you'd be able to get 4 runs in unless you did like one run on 2, like on the set of softs each, or and then obviously on the third time you if you had just did just a lap, really a bit about around, and then came back into the pit lane. But it was probably just heard in the background there. I think Plebs has had a little bit of an issue. I think he accidentally went back out onto the track, or was actually going out on onto the track, coming out of his pit box. But I don't think he picked a newer set of soft compounded tyres. So his last run is pretty much dead and buried, I think, and I think it might be, well, I think he would have gotten away with it, considering it's this late in the qualifying session here. But let's see whether we can improve on our lap time here, because we're currently dead last at the moment here. Obviously, we did improve ourselves at the last round at Hungary to get ourselves in the top 10, so I'm hoping this one to get ourselves into the top 10. Contrast rejoins. I think he was having a little issue, and not entirely 100% sure what the go was there, but through that was Laycom there, pretty smooth through there, running that nice and wide there over the exit curve, that ran out too wide. Now Broxels, turn 10, take a nice tight corner apex there. I didn't actually nail it the first couple of times, but I just took too much corner coming through No Name there, and again it just invalidates my lap time again. So that is pretty much my qualifying session done and dusted here, as is able with ACSC, who touched the curb coming through Puon, and I think it's just pretty much sent him off there. He tried saving it, but I think the exit curb might have just finished him off there, and in the end it's pretty much ruined his lap there. So in the end, it is ACW that takes pole position ahead of Plevs, so that'll be an interesting front row on the grid. It is Zach Cush there in P3, not too far behind. Chain Game Wow in P4, Alex Pato in P5. I think that's Sharu in P6 there. His gamer tag's not showing on my screen. ACSC in 7th, Dre in 8th, Katie in 9th, and my teammate Goran, another top 10 result for him, so very nice job by him. I'm not sure whether we would have actually made any inroads in the top 10 anyway, had the lap time been valid the first run. But yeah, get to the race. And I did say weather would play a factor in this, and it is, because we're starting on intermediate tyres. And later on into the race, it'll get, well, we're assuming later into the race, it'll get drier. So obviously, it's probably looks about half race distance going by this, but you never know with Codemasters games. Sometimes the weather could the wet weather could literally dry up very, very quickly, and we could get on the dries very quickly here. You saw that probably way back in France, where obviously we started on the intermediate tyres, but we went a fair way into the race before the rain stopped and went back onto the dry tyres. So might be not quite a similar thing, but could be a potential around here anyway. So we're at the rear of the grid. We're at the back with that contrast.
And then Isaac doesn't get a good start.
So 10 more minutes of rain apparently, so you'll see the lap times will be a little bit slower compared to what they were in qualifying. So we're just trying to get the tyres nice and warmed up here. You can see the fronts are absolutely freezing at this point, so just trying to warm up our tyres as quickly as we can. There's somebody who's gone way off there. I think that's Trap Formula in the Alfa Romeo. I think this is his first run in the Race Spec Elite Series. So not the greatest starts for him, so I've just decided to let him go back through on the formation lap here. You see, just absolutely trying everything to get, well, temperature in these tyres, and I nearly lose it coming through.
Wow, 78,
not quite Blanchimon, but the corner after Blanchimon there. We're just absolutely trying everything to just get the tyre temperature up for this start, because, I mean, we've got to obviously try and take it nice and cautiously through here into turn 1, but you never know around here. It could be some carnage into turn 1, and especially up Eau Rouge. Here we go. Set for round 11 of Belgium. 5 red lights. Let's do it around Spa-Francorchamps. That was a horrible starting sequence for me, but it's a fairly decent start as my teammates goes into the wall there. That could have been ended very badly there had I come a little bit more closer there. We could have had 2 Red Bulls at the back of the grid there. Well, we still are at the back of the grid, but I think Goran may have got front wing damage from that. So we get nice and cautiously up here through Eau Rouge and the top of Radion. So we have a look at Contrast's point of view on the top right of screen. He's just literally a position in front of me. He's trying to put a bit of pressure on Big Chich in the Ferrari there, side by side. We're literally just trying to, I don't know which way we're trying to go with the slipstream there, trying to pick one or the other, but Contrast goes side by side through here to Lake Com, and he gets the move done on Chich. So that puts him up into P12. We're still sitting comfortably in position 14. We did as well a little bit underfuel the car. Well, when I say a little bit underfuel, we didn't go like the full maximum like I probably would have in the dry conditions. So just taking a little bit less fuel, having a little bit less fuel for the start. Whether this will work or not, I wasn't sure at the time, but we're obviously going to see if we give it a crack anyway. But take it nice and cautiously through Puon we go here. As my teammates obviously dropped off the pace a little bit, so he'll be obviously wanting to pit in at the end of this lap, I think, for front wing damage. Just take it very nice and cautiously through here. You can see there's a little bit of a train starting to form here in the foreground by the looks of things. We're back aboard with Contrast. He's trying to put a move here, I think, on Trap Formula, who gets a good run out of there through into coming through, what was it, turn 16 now, coming through Blogshimon. I think he's got the move done through there. Trap Formula goes way off the road at turn 18 and goes for a spin. I don't think it was for a full spin, but in the end he's going to be dropped back to pretty much dead last. But we survived through that one, and we gained a spot out of all that up into position 13. I think my teammate, no, he's actually come into the pit lane, so I wasn't sure, couldn't quite remember whether he came into the pits or not after lap 1, but he did. So anyway, we've kept it pretty well nice and clean through there.
Front Robin was pretty quick in the wet.
So Trap Formula, obviously, I'm not sure whether he picked up any front wing damage after that, but he want to recover very quickly here. But we're just keeping a close, watchful eye here on Big Chich. And if we could maybe try get past him, we could sort of tag along with Contrast at best. I think this is more, as well, a bit more of a dry setup compared to the wet, because obviously the dry period will start to come a little bit later on as he gets a little bit sideways coming out of Lake Holm there. But just manages to hang on. You can see his Contrast actually starting to pull away here, so he's got a little bit more pace up his sleeve at the moment, but it looks like in these wet weather conditions. We're just taking it nice and cautiously through here. Couldn't quite get the drive out of that was turn no name corner, turn 11. Chich runs very, very wide coming through Puon there. Probably loses a little bit of ground.
Radar's showing a clear patch on its way. There's about 10 more minutes of this rain. Inters seem like the fastest tyre for now.
We run a little bit wide through turn 13. It's sort of ruined our momentum there. There's cars every which way. I think that's the other Ferrari there of Rhythms, and I think KD have been caught up in all that drama. Contrast, I'm not sure whether he's been caught up in that as well or whether he avoided it. Might have to grab up some replays in a moment or two, but he's lost a spot there to Big Chich, back to 10th place. So we gained
retired, I guess.
P11, as I think, by the sound of it from Alex Patton, as Charoux's actually out of the Grand Prix. You see there's his car right in the middle of the road here, and Chich, I think, was trying to take avoiding action, albeit I think he was going to be ghosted anyway, considering his car was crashed out. But he just probably was wanting to play it on the safe side there. But we come through into lap 3 now. We're up into the top 10 now, which is not all too bad to say the least. So we're just going to see if we can hold on to this sort of train here in front of us with Chich and Contrast. But so Contrast might be putting a little bit of pressure here on Chich. Coming up Eau Rouge we go. Not quite flat through here. I actually had to shift back down to 7th gear through there. But I think Contrast may have a good run on him here. He goes to the right-hand side, the much wetter side, you could say. And I think he's got the move done even before Lake Com, and he does, so that's P8 for him now. Now we'll see if we can try and make some inroads on Chich here coming through the second part of Lake Com. So again, we just sort of got close to him through the corners, but we just couldn't quite get the drive compared to him out of the corners. So just coming cleanly through here. Again, you can sort of see what I was talking about there not long ago.
Don't have pace.
ACW just asking about tyre wear at this point in time. But I don't think it's overly too bad at this stage. As Chich gets a little bit out of shape there as well. So might be struggling a little bit in the wet weather conditions. We run it wide again through turn 13. It sort of ruins our momentum a little bit. Oh, big sideways moment coming out of turn 14. Had a little bit of a look going into Stabilo, but decided to just back out of that for the time being. We can't afford to let Contrast get away too far ahead up the road if we can. So using a little bit of overtake there. It's coming out of 16 and then through Blanchimon we go. A little bit closer now to Chich. Oh, he goes to the back end. I think he may have glanced the wall then. Through turn 18. Not sure whether he's actually got front wing damage from that or not. I'll be very surprised if he hasn't. But now it moves us up another spot now to P9 at the end of lap 3 there. Now we'll try and close in on front here to Contrast. We have probably burnt a little bit of fuel up already at this early stage, so hopefully don't burn up too much here. But let's look at the replays from the start. So this is on board again with my POV. You can see in the foreground there, my teammates on the left-hand side just loses the car altogether, and that was so lucky. That did not end badly for both the Red Bull cars. It could have been easily front wing damage, if not possibly a DNF. But that was so lucky there in the end. It's instant replays from a little bit further up the grid. So obviously Plebs at a P2 and Chain Game Wow in a P4. Looks like a pretty even start here. There's a little bit of a bump there, I think, from Chain Game Wow on Plebs. So he gets the move done. I think Chain Game got a warning on that from on his point of view. But up through Eau Rouge we go here. Just in the foreground there, these guys in front here, that was Kush, I think, who has obviously been a bit of a gun in the wet weather up against ACW. So that'll be an interesting battle up the front here. He's on board with ACSC. See what his point of view look like. You can just see the spray. You can't literally see through turn 1. See all the banging was going on there. I think it was a little bit of contact coming out of the corner with he and Alex Pato, but of course he had Charoux on his inside, outside, I should say. Coming through Rouge, side by side, Charoux, that is very brave. Go side by side through that Eau Rouge. I think Dre's not too far behind here. You can see obviously the slipstream train is happening very quickly. I think Rhythms, there'll be a little bit of a glitch there because I think he's having internet issues, I think, with ACSC. Nearly slammed into the back of Alex Pato. It was under attack from G-Force Dre, but I think just managing to hang on for the time being. As that's what happened to Charoux. I think he crashed into the outside wall there at turn 18. That was very lucky there that he did not make any more chaos through there. So let's see what's happened through here. Oh, I think KD may have just got a little bit sideways coming through turn 14 and then just caught the back end, I think, of Rhythms' car there. And thankfully the cars were ghosted there, because otherwise Contrast would have been dead and buried and probably would have had front wing damage there. She's having a little sideways moment through turn 18 by the looks of it. Probably also trying to avoid the crash car of Charoux there. So he's ACSC, this is lap 4, putting a bit of pressure here on Alex Pato. This is for position 5 here. Not usually an ideal spot going around the outside, going down the Kemmel Straight, but if he get held it into the left corner here, Lecom, as he gets the move done very nicely. Job there from ACSC. So he gets that move done. Now back we go. This was, I think, the same lap a little bit further on. This is Plebs closing in here on Chain Game Wow. These guys are sort of, well, I should say, Chain Game's actually, I think, dropped off the pace a little bit compared to the top guys of ACSC, ACW and Isaac Kush, who are the current leaders. These two are going to go side by side here into the bus stop chicane. If Plebs can hang it around the outside, he'll have the inside for this corner. It's a little bit of a nudge, probably giving him one back up to what he did happen to him earlier on. But he does get the move done there in the end and back up into, I think, the podium positions there. As it was a yellow flag behind. I couldn't actually tell which one it was. It possibly is Rhythms, I think. I'm not entirely 100% sure on that one. But look at us getting a little bit too sideways coming out of Lake Com there. very thankful that I actually saved the car. That was very much a heart attack moment through there, because otherwise, if I did not save that, I would have ended up in the wall. And again, coming through turn 14, have another sideways moment through there. So that was very, very lucky coming through there. It's lap 6. ACW reckons the weather will start to dry up very shortly.
It should be around lap 8. It'll stop raining.
So you can hear ACW reckons it's probably around lap 8 when it'll stop raining. You can probably tell that it has actually, and he's probably got a point here because it has actually stopped, but obviously the track is still a little bit too damp at this moment in time. So as you can tell, we just changed the graphic there to the medium compounded tyres. I think you should be able to get the mediums to the end of this race. And
KD's pitted for the mediums.
that was the first sign that I had that somebody had pitted for the dries. So KD's come in for the mediums. It's lap 9. We pick up a warning there through Lake Com. That's our first warning. I'm not entirely 100% sure on that one. So we're not overly too far away, I don't think, from the pit stop window here.
It's not a perfect situation, but I don't think we have cause to move on to a different tyre yet.
So Jeff saying that's not the ideal time probably to get onto the dry compounded tyres yet. So we're just going to stick it out on the intermediate tyres for the time being and see how long we can go here.
Yeah, I think I hope so as well.
You can hear there in the foreground, the guys, both Plebs and ACW, mainly Plebs, were saying that you see here's that Kush, his car's actually in the pit lane because he's come in to get onto the dry tyres. And those two actually felt that it was one lap too early then. You can see he's just about leaving the lane now. Actually, I think he'll come out or thereabouts around contrast here. But they might have been eating their words a little bit there, coming through turn 1. As there's yellow flags actually up Eau Rouge, by the looks of things, as somebody's had a spinner. We might have to get some replays a little bit later on. But Chich also has come in for the medium compounded tyres here. And you can, like I was saying, as that was our second warning of the race, my teammate's also in, so he looks like he's going for the dries. But like I said, those two, both players in ACW, might have been eating their words a little bit there, because you can actually see the track has dried out by a long way as the DRS gets enabled here. So in actual fact, Kush may have played that perfectly with the pit stop there. So now this is going to be obviously our pit stop lap here. You can see it doesn't not feel like the intermediate compounded tyres anymore, I don't think, as we pick up our first time penalty of the race there. So that's not going to help us later on in the race. We're nearly running wide here. You can see we're just sort of trying to manage the car to the end of, well, what I said, basically to the pit stop here. There's yellow flags in front here. I think that's the sound of it was Alex Pato so he's had a spin through turn 14 by the looks of things. So we gained a spot out of all of that. So you can see very, very cautiously coming through turn 16, because you can tell now, I think it is definitely time for the dries, and I think everybody else is going to follow suit here. So there may be potential for some guys have to double stack here. So Plebs is in for the mediums, away he goes. I think he may have had a little bit of a change in the front wing as well. His teammates come in as well. We'll get a replay of that from the pit stops here, but you can see ACW will maintain position ahead of Plebs here, but you'll see Kush, I think, there he is. So actually, it was a little bit closer than probably I was expecting, but Kush maintains his lead for the time being. But of course, he probably will obviously have one lap warmer tyres compared to the other two, so it might take a little bit longer. There's ACSC who's coming to the pit lane. This is the replay, I think. Alex just loses the car, I think, coming off the exit curb there through turn 14, so that would explain how he had the spin there, as Contrast and G-Force Dre, they're having their little bit of a battle here coming into the pit lane. Wouldn't recommend passing into the pit lane there. I've seen cars crash into the pit lane entry there with the wall, so that would have been very awkward there. But it gets obviously a little bit held up, because obviously these guys have just pitted, obviously had the pit stop for Plebs. It's onto the medium compounded tyres. So let's see whether this is actually going to help Contrast or not here, as he just actually maintains. So he might be blaming the pit stop a little bit there for having the slow, not gaining the position there on G-Force Dre, as he's chain game wow as well into the pit lane. So majority of these guys, I think, are going for the mediums, which seems about right. Actually, chain game nearly gained a spot there on Contrast. Actually ghosted through Contrast there, actually. So very, very lucky there for him. So, but now we're going to make our way into the pit lane as well. It's, Contrast I don't think was too happy. I probably could understand a little bit here because you want, obviously, the pit stops to be similar to what they are in real life. Obviously, they be bang, bang very quickly sort of thing, if that makes sense. So nearly what happens is sort of real life there with, let's just go example Mercedes and Red Bull, because I think they're sort of the two best teams. If you have one car in, then you can be ready to go for the next car. So it's we're going to come out, obviously, we'll see where we come out here. It'll be P8 or not. But I think we'll just get ahead of Chich. So he hasn't managed to do the undercut on us like I thought he may have, but we're very lucky. There's KD now sent the fastest up of the race. Obviously, that is a lot warmer tyres compared to everybody else. Now, this is the replay. On board we go with chain game. Wow. He touches the curb coming up Eau Rouge. It was probably not the ideal way to do it, and this is why we had the yellow flag. So he's very, very lucky he didn't end up in a wall then, but he's dropped a bunch of time and a bunch of spots as well. So he's looking pretty decent as well. P4, now he's dropped, I think, 3. Oh, sorry, I'll take that back. P3, actually. Well, it would have been effectively P4 with Kush, obviously, already pitted. But ACSC, obviously, his point of view on board with the incident with Chain Game Wow. Oh, showing the incident with Chain Game Wow of his spin. Here's Contrast trying to make hay while the sun shines here on G-Force Dre. Round the outside of Blanchimon and gets the spot done. So that's a very nice move there for Contrast. Now he can try and maybe chase after ACSC. I think he's a little bit further up the road here as Chain Game. Wow, good save coming through Puon. You do not want to be touching that inside curb there going into Puon, because that is easily a spinnable curb there. So that's why he lost a bunch of time, and I probably should not be touching that curb coming through turn 14. And in the end, if I had what has probably cost me there a very nice position there, because we've dropped a couple of spots back to behind Big Chich and Alex Pato there, so we'll have to recover that as quickly as possible.
So annoying.
Back to go to this battle here. Dre's not done with yet on Contrast. I think these guys are a little bit further behind. As Dre goes around the outside, gets the move done at Lake Com. The Contrast trying to set him up here for maybe a move here at Bruxelles. Has a think about it. Trying to put him off through Bruxelles there, but just managing to hang on here. Now through the corner with no name. It's a compromised line there for Dre, as he runs very, very wide there. Don't know whether he got a warning for that, but Contrast back up the inside of Puon, taking probably a lot more curb than...
His life would have flashed before his eyes.
Very, very lucky there. Like you said earlier on, you do not want to be touching the curb too much, otherwise it'd be easily spinnable curb. It's a lap later. G-Force Dre got the move done much earlier before Lakecom there on the Kemmel Straights, and Contrast runs in a little bit too deep there through turn 7, so that probably would lose him momentum. But those guys are a fair way off the margin to ACSC there. It's on to lap 13. Now we set our personal best on that lap. Obviously, we probably will set personal best quite a bit, considering we're on the much drier compounded tyres, but you probably just see in the foreground, I think Alex is actually starting to close in here on Chich in the foreground. And I think also is there somebody else that, no, sorry, I'll take that back. You can just sort of see in the foreground there, I think Alex and Chich are battling away here, and I was sort of hoping this would happen so I can gain back a lot of time that I've lost, obviously, from that spin earlier on. But I don't really have, also point out, I don't really have too much fuel up my sleeve, so yeah, well, I've got to really manage the fuel here as best I can. Like I said earlier, I underfueled the car quite a bit here because I wasn't really sure about the wet weather conditions, how long they would be lasting. So it was probably thereabouts race distance. So, but I can't really afford to burn too much fuel around here. Update.
seconds. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 3 laps old. The time last lap was a 1:46.7. Your
That's a
closing
penalty,
by 4
surely.
tenths
You've
per
gone
lap.
off 3
They have a
times,
time
I swear.
penalty of 9.0. 3 seconds will be added to their time at the end of the race.
Okay, that was an update. So Chich has got 9 seconds worth of penalties. I've got 3, and you can probably hear ACW not overly too happy as I nearly lose the rear end coming out of turn 8.
I've seen him go off 3
You can
times
hear
now.
he's still overly not happy with probably the amount of, well, could you say width, as these yellow flags in the foreground. Someone is way off the road there. That is actually Trap Formula, who I think is now a lap car in the Alfa Romeo, so his first race in the Elite Series not going to plan at the moment. Let's now on to lap 15 as there goes Chich, who's actually lost the back, got on the power too early there, and has now probably cost himself a top 10 result there with that, so he's definitely would have front wing damage from that, I would think.
You saw that, right?
on track, man.
As you can hear, I get an update on Alex Pato.
4 seconds. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 3
Right,
laps
a
old.
second,
The
come on,
time
go
last
for a
lap
second
was a
now.
1:46.5. You're gaining by 1/10 a lap.
So Alex doesn't have a penalty at this stage, and I've got 3 seconds. So basically, if I have to, if I want to get P8, that's what I've been trying to say. If I want to get P8, I want to be trying to not be doing that and getting my second time penalty of the race. But now getting P8 looking a little bit unlikely at this stage, unless I obviously close in on Alex and get the position and then build a 6-second gap.
Dude, he crashed? What the fuck? I gave him so much space.
And it looks like there's been an incident up
Oh, he crashed?
yeah.
Oh,
a bit further up the road there between, it sounded like Plez and Isaac Kush have come together. We'll get some replays,
I gave him so much space.
but the sound of it looks like they may have had a little bit of a tangle. We'll get some replays of that a little bit later on, but as Chich now retires in the pit lane, so he's had enough of this one. So obviously now we're up to position 9.
No, I didn't even feel it. I looked back and he wasn't there.
So yeah, look, we'll have a look at the replays so you can make your own judgments of who's in the right or who's in the wrong, whether it's 50-50 there.
He
So
always gets desperate, man. He can't hack being overtaken like.
obviously that's Pleb's point of view, and well, you could say his arguments. But this is what happened here. So he's right all over the back here. So looks like Kush had decent pace in the wet, but probably doesn't have quite as much decent pace in the dry here. So he still goes side by side here down the Camel Straight. Here we go. So players will obviously have to go around the outside here at Lake Com. And this sort of looks like maybe, they may have got enough room there. I'm not 100% sure, but I think players may have just given him enough room there. And I think Kush may have just got caught up in his right rear tyre there. It's sort of that thing when you get your tyre sort of caught up there a little bit, one of you will end up in the spin, and obviously in this case it ended up with Kush. So he's dropped a bunch of time and another spot there, I think, to ACSC. So puts the Renault driver on the podium. Now this is back we go to this battle here, continuing with G4 Australian Contrast. They keep on switching positions right, left and centre here, so this will probably be the battle for the rest of this race for these two. The Contrast gets the move back on him for P5. Not sure what the situation is with penalties with those guys. But back we go to our POV. We were sort of dropping away a little bit. We weren't really gaining too much time on Alex, but Katie's now coming to the pit lane, so that probably, since he came in a lot earlier in the race, so well, pretty much when the dry period started, so well, maybe a lap early before the dry period started.
4 tenths per lap. They have a time penalty of 3.0. 3 seconds will be added to their time at the end of the race.
Okay, so that's now changed. It's now KD since the fast lap of the race. So Alex has got 3 seconds, and I've got obviously the 6 seconds worth of penalties. So that may be interesting later on into the race here. Lap 20 here. Contrast overly not happy because obviously, yeah, he's using the Fernando Alonso term. That what year was that? 2015 or 16, I think, in the Honda. And he was saying GP2 edge. And as Changan Wow's been having a few of those moments recently. And probably the similar story with him as well, considering he looked like he had pretty decent pace in the wet, but doesn't really have too much pace in the dry, as that looks like Alex had a bit of a moment coming through out of Stavolo there between 15 and 16. So, but we are starting to gain a little bit of time here as well. You can probably tell from the indicator on the top left of your screen here. We are slowly but surely just clawing our way back here, and Alex looks like he's losing the back end. Again, that's not going to help our cause here now, so it's back out to pretty much another 6-second gap. Basically now, if I have to get P8, I have to get past him and get 6 seconds. Have to go back and get, a gap of 6 seconds just to get P8. But through turn 18, and that was Alex that actually had a spin there.
Oh, that's fine.
I'm not sure whether he's got front wing damage or not, but we're now into P8, and now we've just got to literally, I think, go for it here. Try and build up that gap, because you can see it's probably around 5 seconds, I think, or just a bit under 5 seconds here, so we absolutely have to give it our all here. Use every single bit of everything we've got. Basically, use every bit of fuel, every bit of ERS that we've got up our sleeve, which we don't really have too much ERS up our sleeve, and fuel is probably similar, to say the bit at least. So it's now up to the Camel Straight we go. We're actually sticking a board here on our final lap here, because this is actually my fastest lap of the race here as well. So you can see sector 1 here, we're about, what are we, 7/100ths of a second quicker than our previous lap time, which I think at the moment is a 46.2, which I set way back on lap 13. As you can see, sort of the tyre is pretty much now in their window here, and so they've sort of really come on a little bit later on here, which is normally what you expected to do, as just managed to keep it just inside the line there at Puon. Only just though. Now through turn 13, you can probably use a lot more curb through turn 13, but I was playing the cautious game here, because I think with a little bit of practice, or considering what happened in the Pacific race as well, I was a little bit more cautious because I didn't want to lose the car to there. But ACW's won the race here, and I think that's possibly his first race win of the season. Not 100% sure on that. We'll have a look at the results a little bit later on. I think Dre has got position 5 over Contrast. We'll have a look at that replay as well. But we're going to cross the line here with our personal best of the race, which will be a 45.6, which is not quite half a second quicker. But we'll drop back to position 9 in the end because of the penalties up our sleeve here, so that probably wasn't ideal in the end here. But okay, this was the last lap battle here between GeForce Dre and Contrast. So Contrast will have pretty much the momentum here. Pretty much from here on in, there's pretty much not a DRS zone until basically the front straight here. So Dre's literally got to do it, if anything, literally go all out attack here in these final few corners here. Through blocks him on and go to the bus stop chicane here. So you can see really starting to close in here through turn 18. He's really right up to the back here. Contrast will probably cover the inside line here, but Dre goes late under brakes. There's a little bit of contact there. They give each other space here. Contrast will have to get this corner through here. He doesn't get the better drive, and that is how Dre got P5 in the end. And you can tell Contrast could not believe that he lost position 5 out of all that. Just lost it out of the drive, out of the corner there in the end there. And I think that's pretty much cost him that P5 in the end. But he does get a driver of the day. Again, no surprise there. He seems to be having a common theme this season with driver of the days. But there's the overall podium results there. So there's ACW, who like I said, I believe it's his first race win of this season, if I'm not mistaken. It's taken till round 11, but he's finally got that one race win on the board, so big congrats to him. We'll have a look at the final race results and then go through the standings as well. See whether actually that was actually his first win. So it's ACW players and ACSC 1, 2, and 3. Kush ends up in position 4. Probably could have been a little bit better. Maybe the podium got away from here with that little bit of contact. Dre in P5, Contrast in 6, Chain Game, wow. After that pretty decent start, actually drops back to P7 there. Alex Pazzo in P8, that's P9 there for ourselves, and my teammate as well actually gets the final points of this race as well.
you
So
guys did shit.
I think that was probably based on penalties as well compared to him and KD. So because I know those guys were pretty close on the track there. So yeah, just going through my race director as well, and then a bit further back, both Ferraris I think had a shocker, and same can be said for Trap Formula. So there's the standings. So ACW is the championship leader now, obviously. 16 points clear of Isaac Kush. Plebs is now in P3. Williams have a, let me see if I got this right, 17-point margin over Mercedes in the Constructors' Championship. Alfa Romeo in third, McLaren fourth, and Red Bull still in fifth. So we're still thereabouts. And yes, that is confirmation there that that's ACW's first win of the season. So big congrats to him. With that result, we're now into P19.
If you
So we're slowly but surely making our way up the order. I really doubtful whether a top 10 is possible, considering I did join about France. So, but the driver of the day standings did not get updated as well. So, but yeah, anyway, it's basically 16 points now between ACW and Plebs, I think. Oh, sorry, Isaac Kush, one of the two anyway. You all would have seen it anyway for the standings anyway. But yeah, that'll do it for the highlights around the Belgium Grand Prix. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give it a big smash of that like button. As always, you can leave your comments down below. Subscribe to my channel for plenty more Spec F1 Esports content on F1 2020, plus plenty more video gaming content as well. As always, all my social media links will be down in the description. Plus, I'll leave the links down below for the Spec social channels, so their Facebook page, Twitter and Instagram, their YouTube channel, their Twitch channel. Plus, I'll leave a link below if you want to go and sign up to the league, for the Discord channel. There'll be a link down there as well. But yeah, until the next one, whenever that may be, it is goodbye, and I'll see you all next time.